Ever wondered what autism really means? You see, it's not as simple as flipping a switch. It's not one thing you can point to and say, there it is. Autism affects each person differently. Think of it like a kaleidoscope, a beautiful pattern of differences where no two pictures are ever truly alike. That's why it's so important to bust those myths wide open. Some folks think they have autism all figured out, but trust me, it's more nuanced than that. We're about to tackle 10 common myths about autism. Some might surprise you, and hopefully they'll change how you see the world around you. Some might surprise you. We're about to tackle 10 common myths about autism. Some might surprise you, and hopefully they'll change how you see the world around you. So, if you're ready to discover the truth, hit that subscribe button and let's dive into myth number 1. Let's start with one of the biggest myths out there. People with autism have low intelligence. I can tell you right now, that's just plain wrong. Intelligence and autism are two separate things. It's like comparing apples and oranges. They're just different. People with autism have a whole range of intellectual abilities, just like everyone else. I've met folks on the spectrum who are brilliant scientists, talented artists, and whizzes with computers. They have amazing skills and unique ways of seeing the world. So why do people make this assumption? Sometimes it's because people with autism communicate differently. They might not make eye contact or understand social cues the same way, and some folks mistake that for a lack of intelligence. But remember, everyone has their own strengths and challenges. Just because someone communicates differently doesn't mean they're not intelligent. It just means their brain works in a unique way. Don't let anyone tell you that autism equals low intelligence. It's simply not true. Now, on the flip side, we have the myth that all autistic people are geniuses or savants. You know, like that movie Rain Man, amazing memory, incredible math skills. While it makes for a good story, it's not the whole picture. Sure, some autistic individuals have extraordinary talents. But remember, autism is a spectrum. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. So let's celebrate the unique talents of every individual, autistic or not, without putting them in a box. This next myth really gets my goat. It's the idea that autistic people don't feel emotions, that we're somehow robots walking around without a heart. Nothing could be further from the truth. Autistic people feel emotions just as deeply as anyone else. Sometimes we feel things even more intensely. We might express those emotions differently. We feel joy, sadness, anger, love, the whole spectrum of human emotions. Many autistic people are incredibly empathetic. Remember, they have a rich inner world of emotions, just like you. Autism looks the same for everyone. Have you ever heard someone say they don't look autistic? As if autism comes with a specific look or uniform. This myth is based on the idea that autism is a one-size-fits-all experience, which couldn't be further from the truth. Remember that kaleidoscope we talked about? Autism is like that, a beautiful pattern of differences. No two people with autism are exactly alike. Some folks on the spectrum might be nonverbal, while others are incredibly articulate. Some might have sensory sensitivities, while others don't. And some might need a lot of support, while others are independent. The point is, there's no single look to autism. It's a spectrum of experiences, each one unique and valid. So, let's ditch the stereotypes and embrace the diversity within the autism community. Autism can be cured. Now let's talk about a myth that's not only untrue, but also incredibly harmful: the idea that autism can or should be cured. This myth stems from the misconception that autism is a disease or an illness, something to be fixed or eradicated. But autism isn't something you catch like a cold. It's a fundamental part of who a person is, woven into the very fabric of their being. It's about thinking differently, experiencing the world differently, and interacting with others differently. Imagine if someone told you that your left-handedness was a disease that needed to be cured. You'd probably think they were crazy, right? Well, that's how many autistic people feel when they hear talk about curing autism. Instead of trying to change who we are, let's focus on creating a world that accepts and celebrates neurodiversity. A world where everyone, regardless of their neurological wiring, can thrive and reach their full potential. People with autism don't communicate. Another common misconception is that autistic people don't communicate or are locked in their own world. This couldn't be further from the truth. We communicate, just maybe not always in the ways that neurotypical people expect. Some of us might be nonverbal, but that doesn't mean we're not communicating. We might use sign language, picture cards, or other forms of augmentative and alternative communication to express ourselves. And even if we are verbal, we might communicate differently. We might take things literally, have trouble understanding sarcasm, or need a little extra time to process information. But here's the thing: communication is a two-way street. It's not just up to autistic people to adapt to neurotypical ways of communicating. It's important for everyone to find common ground and understand each other's communication styles. So, the next time you're interacting with someone on the spectrum, pay attention to their communication style. Be patient, ask questions, and be open to different ways of connecting. People with autism can't hold jobs. This myth is particularly frustrating because it limits the opportunities for autistic individuals to contribute to society. This is totally bogus and asinine. The truth is, people with autism can and do hold jobs and often excel in them. We have unique strengths and talents that can be incredibly valuable in the workplace. Many of us are detail-oriented, have a strong work ethic, and are passionate about our interests. Sure, we might need some accommodations or support, but that's true for many people with disabilities. With the right environment and understanding, autistic individuals can thrive in a variety of professions. So, let's challenge the assumption that autism equals unemployment. Let's create inclusive workplaces that value neurodiversity and provide opportunities for everyone to succeed. For years, this myth blamed parents, particularly mothers, for their child's autism. It was called the refrigerator mother theory, and it was incredibly damaging. Thankfully, science has debunked this myth completely. We now know that autism is primarily caused by genetic and neurological factors. It's not caused by vaccines, parenting styles, or anything else parents do or don't do. Blaming parents for their child's autism is not only inaccurate, but also incredibly cruel. It adds unnecessary guilt and shame to an already challenging situation. So, let's put this myth to rest once and for all. Autism is not anyone's fault. It's a neurological difference, and it's time we start treating it as such. This myth assumes that autistic people are antisocial or don't desire social connections, but that's simply not true. Many of us crave friendships and relationships just like anyone else. The difference is that social interaction can be challenging for us. We might not understand social cues, have trouble reading body language, or find it difficult to initiate conversations. But that doesn't mean we don't want to connect with others. It just means we might need a little extra help or understanding. So, if you're trying to befriend someone on the spectrum, be patient, be direct, and be yourself. Don't be afraid to ask questions and learn about their communication style. You might be surprised at the depth and richness of the connection you can build. This myth assumes that you can always tell if someone is autistic just by looking at them, but the truth is, autism is often invisible. Many autistic people don't look autistic, and their challenges might not be immediately apparent. This can make it difficult for people to get the understanding and support they need. They might be misjudged, misunderstood, or even accused of faking their challenges. It's important to remember that autism is a spectrum, and it affects everyone differently. Just because you can't see someone's autism doesn't mean it's not real. So, let's challenge the idea that autism has a specific look. Let's be open to the possibility that someone might be struggling even if we can't see it. So, there you have it, 10 myths about autism busted wide open. Autism is complex, diverse, and most importantly, part of our world. It's time we embrace neurodiversity and create a society where everyone feels accepted and valued for who they are. If you learned something new today, hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of understanding and acceptance. Let's keep the conversation going and work together to create a more inclusive world for everyone. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to Autism Proud on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook group. Let's keep learning, supporting each other, growing, and celebrating neurodiversity together. Until our next informative video, peace and blessings.